Did you know that you have the power to disrupt starting right now? And the best part, no tech needed, but you do need to reboot your internal system. What am I on about? Stick around and find out. Hello, I'm Nima, your person to get you communicating with impact and influence. And today we're diving into the power of disruption, the power within. So this week I was a speaker at a global event, and the word for the year is disruption. And talks were all about artificial intelligence, technology, the future, what we could be, could do, what is going to happen next. And I was thinking, wait a minute, let's go back to basics. Let's go back, step away from what could happen and deal with our current reality. So the title of my talk was so thrilling. It was back to basics and a lot of other words that I'll come to later. So here's the deal. Disruption. What a great idea, concept. What a great need that we have. And I'm here to share with you that you are the ultimate disruption, accelerator, catalyst, thing. You have the power within, but none of us really realize this. And here's the thing, it's a tech-free, it is something you can do starting right now, and we're just not taught it. We're not taught it at home, at school, in society generally. People who are at the top of their game hire people like me to teach them how to do this thing that gets their message out in a way that increases the chance of getting a yes from a stakeholder. Okay, all these fancy, boring words again. How are you disruptive? Think about this. What is the ultimate thing that you can do that means that you are disruptive? Take a moment and just have a little think about this. How can you, as a person out there in your everyday life, how can you be disruptive? There is something that you can do. What is it? Well, it's changing the way people think, and then changing the way people behave. This is how you can be disruptive starting right now. Change the way people think, change the way people behave. And what does it start with? It starts with getting a yes from somebody. They don't necessarily have to go around saying yes to you, but it's the idea of they go, oh, ping, something happens. They notice, pay attention to, realize that that thing that you are putting out is good for them too, is important to them as well. Now, I believe that if we can do this thing, that means that you are the ultimate disruptive thing in the world, then our world would be different. Your life would be different. The way companies are structured, the way we show up, the way society is and functions would be different. Because the things that you need, want, and do would be heard, acted on, would become your reality if you can get buy-in. You see, right now, what we're doing is we're sort of reacting. We're reacting to things out there, and we are adhering and conforming to guidelines, rules, laws, boxes that we have to tick that somebody else, let's be honest, invented, okay? And this kills me. The fact is that somebody somewhere invented all this stuff, right? And then we are now held accountable. I'm not talking about, certain rights and legal things. I'm talking about the general stuff of functioning, how a company allocates holiday or chooses who gets to work from home, or, whatever, that sort of stuff. Somebody somewhere invented these systems, these guidelines, these rules, these boxes to tick. And we are now held back by them. So the big thing is this. Imagine a world where you could get across what you need, what you want, what you do, how you earn, what you need, want, and do. How would your life be? Seriously, I bet you, okay, close your eyes. I bet there's somebody in your world that you really want to say something to. Could be somebody at home, at work, a politician, society, something somewhere, somebody that you really want to say something to, but you don't feel brave enough, able. You don't want to be singled out, held. When I say accountable, I mean, like, you come here. I've got to deal with you because of something. You are worried, scared, frightened, concerned about saying the thing that you really want to say because of potential repercussions, real repercussions for you. So now imagine if you could say that thing in a way that elevates the conversation and doesn't point the arrow at you firmly. Doesn't make it about you, it makes it about a bigger thing, whereby the person, the stakeholder, by the way, a stakeholder could be your 3-year-old, your partner, your colleague at work, society. It doesn't have to be just the corporate idea of a stakeholder. So whoever it is that you need to hear a yes from, if you are able to put things to your stakeholder, your 3-year-old, in a way that increases the chance of getting a yes, of getting buy-in, how would your life be right now? I mean, seriously, how would life be? I bet you anything your life would be very, very different. That pull in different directions, that having to juggle, that having to choose between, don't really want to do this, but I really don't want to do that kind of thing. Life would be different if we could all communicate in a way that gets buy-in. I've said it. I've said the C word, communicate. This is the big word. If you can communicate effectively, it sounds so boring, doesn't it? Your life will change. You will get clients. You will have a better relationship. You will be able to win over people in your life in a different way. Does it mean that you'll always get your way? No, it doesn't. Because you see, my theory is that the ability to communicate effectively helps every one of us in our daily life and in life generally. In work, if you are somebody who needs votes, whatever that thing is, but also in terms of something so fundamental, in terms of being able to self-advocate, to speak up about certain things, to speak for yourself, to speak up for yourself. If we had the toolbox to communicate in a comfortable way, in a way that increases the chance of getting a yes from a stakeholder, then your life, the world, would be very different. And the same toolbox that lets you shine on stage at a meeting, at a pitch, will also enable you to live a life of dignity, to be able to self-advocate and speak up for yourself and for others too. It sounds so boring, communicate effectively, but this is it. I call this a core skill. This is core to your life, to how we function, how companies function, how society functions. It is a core skill, and we are not taught it. This is so I teach and work with people at the top of their game. And it's because I realized, wait a minute, how come these guys, and they were usually men, 99% of the time men, how come they get to learn this? What about everybody else? 1, 2. Oh, wait a minute. If everybody else knew how to do this, not because they're selling a product necessarily, but knew how to do this, life would change. Life would change for them, for you. And of course, I realized very late in the day that, wait a minute, how come I'm the only woman here? And so that's why I have a special interest in working with women. Well, actually, that's not entirely true. I'm interested in working with people. And because I believe in equality, and I have my own definition of equality, which I can share with you another time, it's looking around and seeing, wait a minute, where's representation? How is this organization, how are these people that I'm working with, how are they representative of their society, their community? They're not. And so really, I like to work with marginalized people, people who aren't seen and heard, aren't present for whatever reason. And guess what? Women are the most marginalized in every single group. So I just said, okay, wait a minute, women, I'll focus on that. But I digress. The point is, it's the same toolbox. The same toolbox would enable you to be safe because you can self-advocate. And it's not about you. You elevate the conversation in a way, because ultimately, is it about you saying something, or is it about you saying something in a way that is picked up on, heard, where something is done about it? That's what you're aiming for. So how do you make this happen? I believe that if you can communicate effectively, then you will be safe. You will be sane, because you'll be able to get across what you need instead of juggle, 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 pull, 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 break, hit a wall. You will be sustainable. As a result, you can sustain yourself emotionally, physically, financially, career-wise, professionally, everything. And you can stay solvent now and in the future, because you see, what we do now, the decisions we make right now, have a knock-on effect. And at the end of life, we pay a huge price for decisions that we make today without thinking them through. Okay? So being able to communicate effectively saves us in so many different ways. Right, let's go back to the beginning then. You are the ultimate disruptive thing, machine, yeah? And tech-free hack. So what is that? It's the ability to get across what you need, want, and do in a way that increases the chance of hearing a yes from the stakeholder that you are communicating with. Woo! It sounds boring, I know. It sounds simple. It is simple, but it is really difficult. And it's because we're human. And this is where the internal configuration comes into it. So you have to upgrade, change, modify your internal system. And it's about a few very core things. When things build up and we've been juggling and pulled and we need this and that's not happening, and that kind of build up of emotion, pressure, stress, what can come out after that can be disruptive in a different way, because it actually boxes you in. Yeah, it takes away options and choice from you, because you are emotional first, because people look at you and point the finger and ignore you, bat you away perhaps. The change that you need, the chances are it's not going to happen. Okay, now imagine that you were able to recognize and process what you're going through internally, what you're dealing with, get it out, and then put it aside. This is what's going on inside me right now. This is what I need right now in order to be okay. This is how it can happen. Now, this person or these people are the ones I need to hear a yes from. So it's about separating yourself, your needs, your status quo, acknowledging it, putting it, getting it out there and then parking it. And then looking at the stakeholder. Who is it that you need to have on side, that you need to get something from, a yes from? How do you do that? How do you do that in a way where all the stuff that's inside you doesn't spill over, spill out, spew out? Well, there are ways to do this. And it's about separating the two. You from the stakeholder. Looking at what the stakeholder needs. What the stakeholder's mandate is. Promise. Something that the stakeholder wants, needs, wants to do, comes into play. And you look at that and you think, okay, in order for the stakeholder to do that, to feel that, to be that, if they do this for me, then they can have that. That'll happen for them. I'm not going to go through the whole process here, but I mean, I'm just trying to give you the helicopter view of how this works. Okay, so it's separating yourself from the stakeholder that you need to address, get a yes from, and then looking at what the stakeholder needs and bringing that into play and actually starting with that. Because guess what? Part of the mess of the human condition is that, I need to be interested first. So if you are communicating with somebody, you need to get their interest first before you can do anything else. Sorry, folks, that's the way it is. So people, especially when they're all worked up, or especially when there's a lot going on, or especially what happens is they want to inform, they want to educate, they want to convert, they want to get something to change, and they start with that. Take a step back. You need to interest the other party first. I is for interest, then inform. Let this be your communicating norm. Write it down if you've got something to write on. I is for interest, then inform. Interest first. So I just wanted to hop on today to say, you are disruptive. You have the power to disrupt. You can start right now. It's tech-free. You don't have the toolbox for it because nobody teaches us this stuff. If you want to find out more, oh, by the way, I keep forgetting to say this, but I have started 90-minute sessions for those of you who want to hop on to a session with me to go through this or anything else that's to do with communication, with your ability to raise your profile, stand out for the right reasons. It's really important that you do this because your life matters and every day in your life matters. So if you want to make every day count, if you want to make every interaction count, get in touch and discover how you are the ultimate disruptive power and that you can start doing it right now, tech-free, with the right toolbox to get people's interest, attention, and a yes, so that you get to live your best life. Deal? Okay, that's all for me today. Any questions? Get in touch. I will leave my email address at the end. And that's all from me saying goodbye. Goodbye.